My child, these next 11 minutes were not chosen by chance. You did not arrive here by accident, and you did not stumble into this moment by distraction. Heaven itself has been watching, waiting, counting, and now the time has narrowed down to this very breath you are taking. I have been patient with you, more patient than you understand. But hear me clearly now, time is no longer moving slowly. The hour is tightening. The space for delay is shrinking. What you do with these minutes will echo far beyond today, far beyond what your natural eyes can see. I am speaking now because this moment matters more than you realize. Do not say to me that you are not ready. Do not whisper to your own heart that you need more time, more strength, more clarity, more confidence. I am not waiting for you to feel prepared, because readiness was never about feelings. I move when my word is spoken, not when comfort is achieved. What happens next will shift the ground beneath your feet. It will challenge the way you have understood me, the way you have understood yourself, and the way you have been measuring time. I am not asking for your perfection. I am asking for your attention. I am asking for your trust. And I am asking for it now. You are standing at the edge of a moment that will not repeat itself. I do not speak lightly when I say this. There are moments that return, and there are moments that pass once and leave only memory behind. This is not a rehearsal. This is not practice. This is not something you can pause and return to later unchanged. If you walk away now, you may miss what was shaped for you alone, what carried your name before you ever knew it existed. I do not say this to frighten you, but to awaken you. Some doors close quietly, without noise, without warning, simply because the moment moved on. The clock is moving faster than you realize. You feel it in your spirit even if your mind tries to ignore it. Days feel shorter. Nights feel heavier. Questions feel louder. That is not confusion, it is acceleration. I am about to move in ways that will shock you, not because I am unpredictable, but because you have underestimated how close I am to acting. But hear this clearly, you will only see it if you stay, not if you skim, not if you half listen, not if you treat this as background noise while your heart remains elsewhere. Stay with me. Stay present. Stay open. This is not a warning meant to scare you. I do not lead my children with terror. This is a call to awaken you from delay, from spiritual sleep, from the habit of postponing obedience. 11 minutes may sound small to your mind, but in my hands, minutes have always carried weight. I change a history in moments. I shifted destinies in encounters. I altered futures with a single response of faith. These minutes can separate destiny from delay, movement from stagnation, obedience from regret. Do not measure them by length. Measure them by what they carry. I did not interrupt your life for entertainment. I did not break into your routine because I was bored or because heaven lacked something to do. I interrupted you because the window is closing. I interrupted you because silence would cost you more than confrontation. I interrupted you because you have been waiting for a sign, and I am speaking plainly now so you will not miss it. You asked for clarity. You asked for direction. You asked me to show you what to do next. This is part of that answer. Many will hear words like these. Many will let them pass through their ears and disappear into the noise of their day. But only a few will understand why they were allowed to stay. Only a few will sense the weight behind the sound, the urgency behind the calm, the love behind the firmness. You are still here because something in you recognizes my voice, even if you cannot fully explain it. You are still listening because your spirit knows this moment is different. Do not ignore that knowing. I will not wait for you to be comfortable. Comfort has delayed you long enough. Comfort has softened your urgency and dulled your hunger. I love you too much to leave you there. I will move because the time has come, not because you feel strong, but because I am faithful. I will move because you have been prepared in ways you do not yet see. I will move because obedience does not require understanding, only trust. And trust grows when you choose me even while your hands tremble. What you are about to hear will demand a response. Not tomorrow. Not when life settles down. Not when you feel more certain. Response is required now. In your heart. In your posture. In your willingness. Silence is a response. Delay is a response. Turning away is a response. But so is surrender. So is leaning in. So is saying, even quietly, I am here. To speak. Do not underestimate the power of a small yes spoken at the right moment. If you feel pressure in your spirit right now, do not resist it. But pressure is not fear. It is not condemnation. It is heaven pressing in, drawing close, narrowing the distance between promise and fulfillment. It is the weight of importance, the awareness that something real is happening. I am near. I'm speaking. And I am inviting you to stay with me for what comes next, because what follows these minutes will not leave you unchanged. Listen closely now, my child. Do not rush ahead in your thoughts. Do not look for an escape in distraction. Stay here. Brian. Let my words reach the places you have guarded, the places you have delayed, the places you thought were forgotten. This moment was chosen. Comment Amen. The turnaround is happening if you're seeing signs of change. You were chosen to be here within it. And what happens next depends on what you do with the time you have been given right now. My child, this moment you are in right now was not born from chance, coincidence, or curiosity. Long before your days were counted, long before your name was spoken on the earth, I saw this exact intersection of time and heart. Before light separated from darkness, before oceans knew their boundaries, before the dust of the ground was shaped into flesh, I scheduled this interruption. I marked it. I guarded it. I carried it through generations so that it would meet you here. This is not a random pause in your life. This is a divine interruption, and it carries weight because it carries my intention. You did not find this message by searching hard enough or scrolling long enough. You did not arrive here because your mind was clever or your curiosity was sharp. I brought this to you. I crossed barriers you cannot see. I moved through noise, distraction, exhaustion, and resistance to place this moment directly in front of you. If you feel as though something has suddenly arrested your attention, it is because I have stepped into your path. When I interrupt, it is never to waste time. It is because time itself has become precious, and I refuse to let you drift past what was prepared for you. Understand this clearly now. This is not motivation. I am not here to excite you for a moment and then leave you unchanged. I am not here to make you feel good and then return you to the same patterns, the same delays, the same half-decisions. This is confrontation, but it is confrontation wrapped in love and authority. I am confronting the places where you have postponed obedience. I am confronting the comfort that has quietly replaced faith. I am confronting the habit of waiting for perfect conditions that were never promised. When I confront, it is because I see what delay is costing you, even when you do not. There are moments when I whisper, and there are moments when I interrupt. Whispering invites intimacy. Interruption demands attention. You are in an interrupted moment now. That is why it feels different. That is why your spirit feels alert even if your body is tired. That is why something inside you knows this is not ordinary. I have allowed many things to pass you by gently, but this I stopped you for. When I interrupt, it is because movement is required, not later, but soon. These 11 minutes are not just time on a clock. They are a symbol of mercy extended, of preparation offered, of a final alignment before movement. I have always worked within moments. I rescued in moments. I revealed myself in moments. I shifted history in moments. Do not underestimate what I place inside a small window of time. I am giving you space to listen, space to recognize, space to respond before the current shifts. This is grace. This is patience. This is me slowing you down so that you do not miss what is about to accelerate. I want you to feel the seriousness of this without fear. Fear paralyzes, but authority steadies. I am not shouting at you, but I am not whispering either. I am speaking with clarity because clarity removes excuses. You have said before that you needed a sign. You have asked me to be clear. You have prayed for direction. This interruption is part of that answer. Direction often comes as a disruption because your current direction was never meant to be permanent. You may be tempted to think, I will listen now and act later. Hear me gently but firmly. Later has been the place where many promises quietly went to sleep. Later feels safe because it asks nothing of you now. But destiny does not unfold in later. It unfolds in response. I am not rushing you in panic. I am inviting you in urgency. There is a difference. It comes from fear of loss. Urgency comes from awareness of value. This moment is valuable, and I want you to treat it as such. I have watched you carry things longer than you were meant to. I have seen you adapt to delay until it felt normal. I have seen you learn how to function without answers, without movement, without clarity. You survive it, but survival is not the same as alignment. This interruption is me stepping in to say that survival is no longer the goal. Alignment is. What I am about to unfold in your life requires your attention now, not because I am impatient, but because the season has shifted. When I say this moment was scheduled, I mean that nothing about it is accidental. The timing of your weariness, the timing of your questions, the timing of your longing for change, all of it converged here. I allowed certain things to run their course so that you would recognize the sound of my voice when it called you to stop. If I had come earlier, you might not have listened. If I came later, the cost would have been greater. I am precise, my child. Even my interruptions are measured. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness, peace, and devotion to God into your life. If you wish, you can show your love and support by donating through Super Thanks. Do not mistake this for condemnation. I am not listing your failures. I am not rehearsing your mistakes. I am addressing your future. I am speaking because there is movement ahead that requires a different posture than the one you have been standing in. You cannot step into what is coming while clinging to delay as a habit. This is why I interrupt, because habits do not break themselves. They are interrupted by truth. These minutes are also preparation. Before I move you forward, I steady you. Before I open doors, I align hearts. Before I accelerate, I invite stillness. Stillness is not inactivity, it is focus. I am drawing your focus away from noise so you can hear what matters. There is information your spirit needs before your feet take the next step. If you rush past this, you may still move, but you will move without clarity, and clarity saves you from unnecessary struggle. I want you to notice something important. I am not forcing you. I am interrupting you, but I am not controlling you. Love never removes choice. What I remove is ignorance. You are being made aware. What you do with that awareness is your response. Do not confuse freedom with delay. Freedom is choosing alignment when you recognize truth. Delay is avoiding the weight of choice by pretending the moment is smaller than it is. This is why I speak of urgency without panic. Panic says everything will collapse if you do not act perfectly. Urgency says this moment matters and deserves your full attention. I am not asking you to solve everything in these minutes. I am asking you to recognize that something has shifted and that you are being invited to shift with it. Recognition always comes before transformation. You may feel resistance rising in you. Thoughts telling you this is too intense, too serious, too demanding. That resistance is not proof that something is wrong. It is proof that something real is touching places that have been comfortable in delay. Comfort resists interruption. But comfort was never meant to lead you. I am. And when I lead, I sometimes stop you abruptly so that you will look up and listen. Stay with me here. Do not rush ahead to conclusions. Do not retreat into distraction. Let this interruption do its work. Let it awaken what has been dormant. Let it remind you that your life is not drifting aimlessly but being guided intentionally. I am here, in this moment, speaking because I care too much about what is ahead to let you pass this by unchanged. My child, hear me clearly now, because what I am about to say touches a place in you that has been protected by delay. I will not wait for you to feel ready. I know how that word sounds to you. It feels wise. It feels careful. It feels responsible. But I see beneath it. I see how often readiness has been fear wearing the mask of wisdom. I see how you have learned to say, "Not yet," not because I was silent, but because moving forward felt heavier than staying where you were. I am not offended by your fear, but I will not allow it to lead you. You have told yourself that one day you will obey fully, one day you will step out boldly, one day you will trust without hesitation. A day has always felt close enough to comfort you but far enough to demand nothing. This is the illusion of someday obedience. It promises faith without requiring action, and speaks of commitment without movement. But obedience that is always scheduled for later quietly becomes disobedience dressed in patience. I do not measure faith by intention. I measure it by response. You believed you were being wise by waiting until you felt stronger, more confident, more certain. But I ask you now, gently and honestly, how many times has waiting truly made you braver? How often has delay dissolved fear instead of feeding it? Fear grows when it is accommodated. It shrinks when it is faced. Readiness, as you define it, has often been your way of negotiating with fear instead of trusting me beyond it. There are blessings you never noticed passing by because you were still preparing to receive them. I say this not to shame you, but to awaken you. There were moments when I invited you forward, when doors opened quietly, when opportunities aligned softly, and you hesitated because the timing did not feel safe. Those moments did not return in the same form. Not because I withdrew love, but because seasons moved forward. I grieved with you when you later wondered why things felt harder than they needed to be. Delay has a cost, even when it feels reasonable. Comfort has been a kind place for you, but it has also been a limiting one. Comfort zones do not announce themselves as prisons. They feel familiar. They feel manageable. They feel controlled. But over time, what was once a refuge becomes confinement. You adapted to boundaries I never placed around you. You learned how to function inside limits I never designed for your life. And because it felt safe, you assumed it was right. I am speaking now to loosen those walls. Destiny does not pause because emotions are unsettled. Calling does not wait until fear disappears. Purpose does not ask permission from comfort. If it did, nothing eternal would ever unfold. I have always moved through imperfect people with trembling hands and uncertain hearts. If readiness were required, no one would ever step into what I prepared. I am not surprised by your doubts. I am not intimidated by your questions. But I will not let them dictate the timing of what must move forward. You think readiness comes from certainty, but it comes from trust. Certainty demands control. Trust releases it. I am not asking you to understand everything before you move. I am asking you to know me enough to move even when you do not. You have mistaken emotional calm for spiritual alignment. Alignment does not always feel peaceful at first. Sometimes it feels like stretching, like tension, like stepping into unfamiliar ground while your heart races. That does not mean I am absent. It often means I am leading. Look back honestly now. There were times you felt the pull to act, to speak, to step out, to let go. And instead, you waited for the feeling to become easier. But feelings are not leaders. They are followers. They catch up after obedience, not before it. When you waited, the moment passed, and you told yourself it was not meant to be. Some things were not meant to be lost, but they were missed because obedience was postponed. I am not recounting these things to reopen wounds. I am revealing them so you do not repeat them. I am showing you how subtle delay can be. It rarely announces itself as rebellion. It sounds like caution. It sounds like patience. It sounds like maturity. But underneath it often carries fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of being seen, fear of being wrong. I am asking you now to let me address that fear instead of building your life around it. You say you want peace before you move. I say peace often follows movement. You say you want confidence before you obey. I say confidence grows through obedience. You say you want assurance before you step forward. I say assurance is born in the step itself. If I waited for you to feel ready, you would remain where you are far longer than necessary, and what I desire to build through you would remain delayed with you. Hear this with clarity and love. I am not rushing you because I am impatient. I am urging you because the moment requires response. There is a difference. The urgency you feel is not pressure from outside. It is alignment calling from within. Something in your spirit recognizes that staying where you are will soon cost more than moving forward. That awareness is not anxiety. It is discernment. Immediate trust does not mean reckless action. It means choosing me over your need to feel secure first. It means saying yes with trembling hands and trusting that I will steady you as you move. I have never asked you to leap without me. I have asked you to walk while holding my hand, but you must move. Standing still while waiting to feel brave enough is not faith. Faith moves with me even while the heart learns courage along the way. You are not behind because you felt fear. You are only delayed if you continue to let fear decide. I am not counting how long it took you to arrive here. I am focused on what you do now that you are aware. This is why I speak firmly but tenderly. I am calling you out of the illusion that someday will come on its own. Someday arrives when you respond today. Let go of the belief that you must feel ready to obey. Release the idea that emotional certainty is a prerequisite for movement. I am with you in uncertainty. I am near in discomfort. I am present in the moment you choose me over ease. Trust me now, not when it feels safer, not when everything settles, not when fear is gone. Trust me while fear is still speaking, because that is when trust is most alive. Stay with me in this truth. Let it settle deeply. I will not wait for you to feel ready, because what I have prepared for you will make you ready as you walk in it. My child, there has been a countdown unfolding around you that you did not see. Not because you were careless, and not because you were unworthy, but because the spiritual realm moves in ways the natural mind cannot measure. You count time by days and years, by calendars and clocks, but I count by seasons, by readiness of hearts, by alignment of purpose. While you were watching the surface of life, something deeper was moving quietly beneath it. The silence you felt was not absence. It was Timon say amen. Your presence has healed me if his nearness restored your soul. I want you to understand this without fear. Time in my realm does not rush, but it does not wander either. It moves with intention. Every moment has weight. Every season has an end. When I speak of timing, I am not speaking of urgency meant to frighten you. I am speaking of reality meant to awaken you. There were moments when the door was fully open, moments when grace flowed freely and invitations were gentle. There were moments when I nudged you softly, when I whispered instead of interrupted. You felt it as a thought you couldn't shake, a stirring you couldn't explain, a sense that something needed to change. Those were not random feelings. Those were warnings wrapped in mercy. I sent signals before this moment. Not loud ones, not dramatic ones, but faithful ones. I spoke through restlessness that would not go away. I spoke through dissatisfaction with what once felt enough. I spoke through delays that forced you to stop and think. I spoke through repeated patterns that left you asking why the same lessons kept returning. I even spoke through silence, because silence can be a mirror when words would be ignored. None of those were punishments. They were invitations. They were chances to respond early, gently, without pressure. Some of those warnings went unnoticed. Some were recognized but postponed. You told yourself you would return to them when life was calmer, when you felt clearer, when the cost felt lower. I did not withdraw my love when you delayed. I did not abandon you when you hesitated. I stayed near. But understand this truth with tenderness. Grace has a season. Grace is abundant, but it is not careless. It opens doors, but it does not force you through them. It waits patiently, but it does not wait forever in the same way. I am not a God who runs out of mercy, but I am a God who moves seasons forward. When a season shifts, the invitation changes. What once required a whisper may later require an interruption. What once asked gently may later knock firmly. This is not because I am angry. It is because time has meaning. If grace had no seasons, growth would have no urgency and obedience would lose its power. I honor your freedom too much to remove consequence from choice. Hear me carefully now, because this is important for your heart. This moment is not a first call. It is a last knock. Not last in the sense of abandonment, but last in the sense of preparation. This is the moment before movement. The moment before shift. The moment where clarity replaces invitation. I am not calling you to start listening. I am calling you to respond. You have heard before. You have sensed before. You have known before. Now I am asking you to act from that knowing. I feel the weight of this as I speak to you, and I want you to feel it too, not as fear, but as significance. This is not meant to make you feel small. It is meant to remind you that your life matters enough for heaven to speak clearly. The tension you feel is not condemnation pressing down on you. It is truth drawing near. Condemnation pushes you away. Truth invites you closer while asking you to change. You may be thinking now of moments you wish you had handled differently. Do not let regret steal what awareness is trying to give you. Regret looks backward and paralyzes. Awareness looks forward and empowers. I am not asking you to relive what you missed. I am asking you to recognize what remains. This countdown was not shown to shame you. It was hidden to protect you until you were ready to hear it. Time has been compressing around you. You felt it in how quickly things shifted, how familiar paths no longer felt stable, how answers that once satisfied you now felt empty. That was not confusion. That was transition. I was narrowing your focus, reducing distractions, allowing certain things to lose their grip so that you could hear what mattered. When I prepare to move someone forward, I often make where they are feel less comfortable, not to punish them, but to loosen their attachment. Grace gave you space. Now truth is giving you clarity. This is not a contradiction. It is progression. I am still gracious. I am still patient. But patience does not mean postponement forever. It means giving you what you need when you need it most. Right now, what you need is honesty about timing. The season of gentle nudges is ending. The season of decisive steps is beginning. Do not misunderstand me. I am not standing with arms crossed, waiting to withdraw if you fail. I am standing with open hands, ready to guide you if you move. This last knock is not the sound of rejection. It is the sound of readiness. It is the sound of heaven saying, now you know. Now you see. Now choose. You are not being rushed into danger. You are being invited out of delay. The silence you experienced before was not emptiness. It was a countdown ticking quietly. Each day was a gift. Each moment was an opportunity. You used some well. Others passed. That does not disqualify you. It informs you. Wisdom is not found in perfection. It is found in recognition. You are recognizing now. That is why this moment carries weight. Stay present with me here. Do not let heaviness turn into fear. Let it become reverence. Let it become focus. Let it become willingness. You are not too late to obey, but you are too aware to pretend this is unimportant. This is the threshold between knowing and doing, between hearing and responding, between invitation and movement. I am still with you. I have not stepped away. I am closer now than before, because clarity draws me near. Listen to the knock, my child. Not with dread, but with courage. This countdown is not ending in loss. It is ending in decision. And decision, when made with me, always leads to life. My child, there are things that have been preparing you that you did not recognize as preparation. You thought they were delays. You thought they were losses. You thought they were seasons where nothing was happening. But I was there, closer than you knew, working quietly in places you could not see. Preparation does not always feel like progress. Often it feels like endurance. Often it feels like standing still while the world moves on. But hear me now with clarity and tenderness. Nothing you endured was wasted. I saw the tears you wiped away when no one was watching. I heard the prayers you stopped speaking out loud because you were tired of repeating them. I noticed the strength it took for you to keep going when answers did not come quickly. You wondered if I saw your quiet faith, the kind that kept breathing even when hope felt thin. I did. I saw every tear that fell in silence. I counted every night you lay awake wondering if something was wrong with you because things seemed harder than they should be. I was not distant in those moments. I was present, shaping you gently and deliberately. There were seasons when you felt isolated, not because you were abandoned, but because I was narrowing your dependence. Isolation has a way of removing noise. It exposes what you lean on when familiar support is gone. I allowed distance from certain people not to hurt you, but to strengthen your root. You learned how to stand without applause, how to trust without reassurance, how to continue without constant affirmation. That kind of strength cannot be taught in comfort. It is formed in quiet perseverance. Delay was not punishment. Delay was space. Space for your capacity to grow. Space for your character to deepen. Space for your trust to become less dependent on outcomes and more anchored in me. You thought you were waiting on me, but I was also waiting on you to grow into what you were asking for. Some things cannot be given too early without breaking the vessel meant to carry them. I protected you through delay even when it felt confusing. Loss carved places in you that comfort never could. I know how much certain losses hurt. I know how deeply you felt them. I know how you question why something precious was allowed to slip away. But hear this truth carefully. Loss did not empty you. It expanded you. It created space for wisdom, for compassion, for discernment. You now see differently. You feel more deeply. You carry a weight of understanding that could not have been learned through ease. I was not absent in your grief. I was holding you while you grew stronger than you realize. You often wondered if suffering meant you were doing something wrong. You asked yourself if faith should feel easier, lighter, more rewarding. But suffering, when carried with me, is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of formation. I do not strengthen my children by sparing them every difficulty. I strengthen them by walking with them through it, teaching them how to endure without becoming bitter, how to hope without denying pain, how to trust without seeing the full picture. There were moments when you felt unseen by others. You gave, but it went unnoticed. You remained faithful, but it was not acknowledged. You stayed when leaving would have been easier. That kind of faith does not go unnoticed by me. I was watching the way you chose integrity when shortcuts were available. I was watching the way you kept your heart soft when disappointment tempted you to harden. These were not small things. They were building blocks. You did not know it at the time, but each season was adding strength to you in a different way. Isolation taught you how to listen. Delay taught you patience without resignation. Loss taught you surrender without despair. Confusion taught you how to seek me instead of certainty. None of this happened randomly. I was intentional even when you felt unsure. I was careful even when you felt overlooked. Type Amen. My spirit is ignited if faith is burning like fire, and share this video.